So good morning or afternoon, fifth grade reading detectives. It is Friday. It is our last lesson, and I'm excited because you guys have done so much around making inferences and drawing conclusions. I'm a little sad because I've loved being with you this week, but we have more work to do. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now, as you know, we've been doing making inferences and drawing conclusions all week, right? So what is our learning objective? I can make inferences and draw conclusions based on what I already know. That's my background knowledge and evidence from the text. And as good reading detectives, as we've talked about, you have to have that evidence from the text. It is so important. That, along with your background knowledge or your own experiences, are the way to make conclusions or drawing conclusions, or to go ahead and make your inferences. So let's not forget that. This will be the last day you hear me say, get out your playbook or that anchor chart we talked about. Remember, drawing conclusions and making inferences just means that we're making educated guesses. Now, we've talked about it over and over again, but the author does not always tell us what they're thinking. And so it's our job as good reading detectives and strong reading detectives to be able to read between the lines or go ahead and make those inferences and draw those conclusions. And that's by using the evidence and our experiences. So we have a couple of things on deck today. We're going to be doing a warm-up activity, an inference sort. You, as always, are going to need your pen and pencil and paper, highlighter or crayon so that you can work with me. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that share so we can get into the practice activity, because we need to go ahead and look at the practice activity from yesterday. So yesterday, you did something with nonfiction text features, Wild Weather. And remember, I did not go over it yesterday afternoon because I said, well, we have so much to do. We'll do it today with the answer. So you read about different weather, mostly tornadoes, water spouts, and it's the wild weather. And so you had to read this, and hopefully you did the techniques we've been doing, highlighting your title, underlining and things that you think are important. So let's just take a look at the questions. What information does the map show? Excuse me. And when you look at here, the map tells you the most common area in the United States for the tornado alley. So you get to see where that's from, right? And then what does the diagram show? So the diagram here is the tornado funnel. And do you see, I didn't know this. This is something new for me, but the tornado funnel, they have different parts of the funnel. So they told you what those different parts were. And then what information can you gather from the caption under the picture? And right here, if I just looked at the picture, I would say, okay, it's a tornado. But actually, it tells you that while this is what a tornado usually looks like, which is that funnel shape that I think we're all used to, sometimes it looks like a rope. So that's definitely going to be something that I explore a little bit later, but that's what the caption helps tell you, that tornadoes actually look different. And then you complete your excuse me, your T-chart about what is the information about the tornado and what's the information about the water spout, and why does the author use headings in the nonfiction text. So this is explicitly said. Text features help readers navigate the text. They give more information about the text and examples, and you see headings. So it's to give more information about the text. Is there another reason that you can think of? Maybe not. So my question for you is, what can you infer that the author wants you to get out of this text? Why are we reading it? Why did Ms. Holman give this to you? So I want you to put your reading thinking caps on. We're being reading detectives. Why did the author? What inference? So here's the evidence. They bold different particular titles: tornadoes, water spouts. So obviously that's really important. The pictures are around tornadoes and water spouts. Lots of details around it. Evidence from the text. Background knowledge. If this is nonfiction and I'm telling you something real world that is true, and I really want you to know about it, I highlight it, right? I make pictures. I make it easy for you to read sometimes so that you can get to it. So it's a nonfiction text. My inference is that the author wants to give you this information, right? The author wants to provide you with this information, and it goes back to why they even provide text features, is because they want to give you ways for you to be able to gather this information. So hopefully you had a great time and learned a little bit about that. So we're going to stop the share and go back into our lesson so we can continue with our day. All right. All right. So as always, continue having your pen or pencil, paper, highlighter, and crayon, because we're going to need them. We're going to do a warm-up activity, and then we're going to do our sort. So let's go into our warm-up activity. All right. So you have two scenarios here. I want you to go ahead and read them. Pause me for a minute, read them, see if you can answer the questions, and then we are going to come back to this. All right, thank you so much for pausing me and doing this activity. So this one, the first one, is about mom. She's made sandwiches. She's put them in a basket with fruit. Dad's got a checkered blanket, and Robbie got a Frisbee. So we've got food in a basket with the blanket and a Frisbee. So where are the family going? I would infer they're going for a picnic. I don't necessarily know if it's in a park or if it's at a beach, but they're going on a picnic. Why? Because they're taking a blanket. They're going to be laid out on the blanket, probably eating, because you take a basket with you when you're going to be eating somewhere. So you put your food in the basket, and they have a Frisbee. So you need a lot of space. You can throw the Frisbee and, play. So that's what makes me think all of those things. What about you? So let's go into the next one. So Jake and Tim sat quietly next to each other, and they're kind of thinking, and it's, I'm resting. I'm in my peace zone. And sometimes, especially now since we're at home, we need that. You need to be able to go into your room and just be in your peace zone. So they're together, they're in their peace zone. And then suddenly the pole Jake is holding loosely jerks, right? And he nearly drops it. And Tim exclaimed, "You got one!" And they reel it in. He reels it in slowly. So what did Jake have, and how do you know? So I'm going to start with my experiences. When I was a little girl, I used to go fishing with my grandmother. And so we would sit on the bank of a lake, and I'd have a pole, and we'd throw it out there. And when the fish would bite, they would jerk the pole, and the pole would jerk, and then we would have to reel it in. And so that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm sitting here thinking, they are fishing. So what did Jake have? If it says you got one, and I think they're fishing, what does Jake have? He has a fish on his fishing pole. And how do I know? Well, the pole was there. The pole jerked. You got one, explained Tim. So Tim actually is saying you got one, and they're reeling him in. So they're reeling something in. So there is my evidence. Hopefully, those were the inferences that you got as well. Let's go on now. Remember, we talked about we were going to have another activity. So I'm going to unshare so we can go to the other sort activity that you're going to start, and then you will finish it though on your own. So Ms. Holman is going to do a few of them, but you are going to go ahead and you're going to finish them on your own. So let's get started with a few. All right, so this is an inference task cards. I'm going to put this in the Google Doc too, so you can cut them up. See how many it's 8. You can cut them up, you can practice, you can play with a friend. Again, it's clues in a text plus what you know equals inference. So everywhere that you turn, you will see your handy dandy anchor chart. Why? That's our playbook. That is the foundation to what we're doing this week. So in addition to that, in the scenarios, they actually have cards. So you can put your answer down, but what do I always say? Where's your evidence? How do you know? Prove it. Isn't those all the things that good reading detectives do anyway? So they actually have a task card for you for each one of them. So for today's purpose, we are going to do the first two. So I'm going to also ask for you to go ahead and pause me for a second so you can read one and you can read two. And we're going to answer these together. And then I'm going to let you play this game at home with your family, because I think it'll be kind of cool for you to test and teach your family members about making inferences and drawing conclusions. So go ahead and take a pause. And thank you for coming back. So number one says, my teacher walked into class with her glasses on. It was unusual that she wore her glasses. Her eyes were puffy and she talked quietly to the class. On her desk, she had a bag of cough drops and some tea with a bottle of honey next to it. What was wrong with the teacher? So, evidence, she has cough drops. So, excuse me, as you can see, Ms. Holman has a little bit of a cough. And so, if I have a cough, I need cough drops. Her eyes are puffy. She's wearing glasses, and that's not what she's normally doing. And she's talking quiet. Okay, students, this is what we're going to do today. So what was wrong with the teacher? She was sick. I know from my own experiences, if I have a cough or if I'm not feeling well, I'll get some tea and honey to make me feel better. It'll help my cough and soothe my throat and just make me feel a little bit better while I'm getting over it. Sometimes with allergies, my eyes will run. So it could be like sick, it could be sick with a cold, it could be sick with allergies, but we know something is going on, right? So the next one, Sarita was excited to get out the car. She had been waiting for today for weeks, and it was finally here. She skipped as she went up to the walkway to the house, and her mom opened the door. Suddenly, everyone shouted, "Surprise!" All right, so this one is a little bit even easier. Why was Sarita excited? So it says she's been waiting for this for weeks, and then it says everyone shouted surprise. Those are pieces from the text that are my evidence. So I can infer, because with my background knowledge, usually for my birthday, I'm excited when my birthday is coming. I cannot wait. And then for everyone to say surprise means they're probably having a surprise birthday party. Those are my experiences. So again, text evidence, background knowledge, and surprise. My inference is Sarita was excited because it was her birthday. What did you come up with? Now remember, again, you're going to read the next 6 on your own, and you're going to be able to work with your family or a partner. You can cut them up. It should be a little fun. You can make an actual game out of it. So I want you to, have some fun with it. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay. So we've done our warm-up activity, and remember we had talked about we were going to do the other sort. So what is a reading detective, and why have we done this all week? So let's talk about it really quickly. A reading detective, off to the side you can see, is someone who looks at clues. Is that what we've been doing? Someone who asks questions. Have we been asking questions as we've been reading? Someone who makes our case. Are we able to prove it, and how? Is because we've been going back, looking at the evidence, and then adding our experiences. So you've been doing what a reading detective is. That's what a reading detective looks like. And we've been doing it so that we will make you better in doing this when you're reading, so that you deepen your skill. And I want you to continue to do it. So remember our learning target. We've reviewed it in the entire week. You guys should know it by heart now. I can make inferences and draw conclusions based on what I already know. Background knowledge and evidence from the text, right? So that's really what this is all about. And I know it's like, oh, Ms. Holman, why are you so excited? I'm excited because this is really fun to me. If you are a reader, and even if you're not, remember the first day I said, you do this every day. Right now, it's a little cloudy outside, right? So I know, because of my experiences and the sky, that it's probably going to rain. And guess what? Today, it rained a little bit. So that's an inference. that you would make as well. So we need to be able to do this. So I have another exciting practice activity for you that I really want to show you right now, that I want to end with, because this is what I want you to do as well. So you have to finish the sort, and I want you to do this practice activity. So you as fifth graders are going to be making your own comic strip. And so Mrs. Holman has put one in here as a sample so you can see. So this is Odie is climbing a tree, thud, then thud. And needless to say, dogs aren't really good at that, thud. So the cat in here is Garfield, if you've ever seen that cartoon. And my inference is, what is Odie? What evidence helped your inference? Okay, so remember again, evidence. So my observations, he's trying to climb a tree but falls. Garfield says dogs aren't real good at that. What do I already know? Dogs can't climb, and I have a dog, so I know that. So I infer that Odie is a dog. And so that was my little bit of a comic strip. So you're going to create your own. These are the directions, but I'm just going to talk you through them. I did a comic strip with 3 frames right here, but you can do one with 4 frames right here or one with 5 frames. So the assignment is to do one of these. If you want to do all 3, that's fine. If whichever one you do, though, if you don't do the other 2, go ahead and erase them. That'll give you more space. And then you come up with your own inference question, and you go ahead and fill out the chart the way I did, so that someone can come behind you and figure out what you were thinking. So I want you to quiz your family, right? So you can quiz your family, and so come up with something great. So as we end today, I just want you to know that I'm looking forward to you actually sharing this with me. So if you see in here, you will see that I have put down my email address, and it's sholman@rvaschools.net. Why did I do that? I want you to be able to refer back to this video, but I would love for you to share your sort so I can see what your ideas were and your comic strip. This is a time for you to be creative. The best way for us to know if you understand making inferences and drawing conclusions is if you can create your own. So we've done lots of scenarios, boys and girls. We looked at lots of text. Now it's time for you to take it to the next level. You're going to create your own and allow someone else to be a reading detective and come behind you and infer from your creation. I am so excited. You guys are going to do awesome. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Again, I'm Mrs. Holman. You guys are great. Continue to be reading detectives. And at this time, I'm just going to say goodbye, and don't forget to email me. Have a great rest of your day.